Perfect. So I'm Madhub Gulati. I am Director of Product Management in vSphere Group. As you know, vSphere is part of Cloud Platform Business Unit at VMware. And it's the same business unit which has vSphere as the primary product, but also the cloud native applications work that we're doing around containers. The BU also has VMware Cloud on AWS Charter. So it's the same business unit, and then my team is responsible for vCenter specifically, and so I'm part of that BU. I have with me Kim McDowell from Umpqua Bank to give his perspective on some of the features that we have available in vCenter and how they're leveraging it. So towards the end of the session, we'll have him speak as well. So let's get going. Again, the usual disclaimer, I might share some future stuff. So most of it would be, things that are available today, but I will show you some tech previews of things we are working on. And so this is general disclaimer. So let's get started. This slide is something you probably have seen before. I just wanted to make sure that I wanted to let you know that we actually take this slide to heart in vSphere team. So there are 4 main priorities that we feel customers care about, and what we have heard from customers is, generally modernizing data centers is a big deal. That means large-scale data centers using hyper-converged infrastructure. That means, being able to, for some customers, being able to have self-service and more automation. So for different customers, it might mean different things. But in general, we are clearly seeing a trend towards, modernizing your data center to be more cloud friendly. The other one is integration with public clouds, right? So I would say last 3 years, I have seen a huge surge in the usage of public clouds, right? So when I used to go 3 years ago and ask, you're using any other cloud? Yeah, we are testing Amazon. Yeah, we are, testing Azure. But now, pretty much, I would say 80% of the customers I talk to say that I have Amazon or Azure or some other cloud in one form or the other. So clearly, public clouds are already in there. So integration of on-prem environments with public clouds is a huge thing, and we are investing very heavily on that. The third big one is around, digital workspaces. So again, our EUC business unit, which is end user products, the VDI products. So we absolutely want to make sure that the vSphere platform can host those workloads. So we are doing a lot of work around GPUs, making sure that graphics workloads, deep learning workloads, VDI workloads can run on vSphere. And then same thing goes with any work we have to do in vCenter to expose some of the hardware innovations to you at the VM level, right? So we do a lot of work there as well. And then lastly, we all know security is becoming very critical. We have all been, after the wave of, all the breaches, I don't want to name the companies, but the breaches 2 years ago, suddenly we saw a surge in interest, and security now is in the top 3 priorities for CIOs. So clearly, it's a hot area. We know that we need to make our products more secure and then continue to be focused on compliance requirements, whether it's FIPS or HIPAA or SOX or any of those. So we are also investing in that area, and you'll see more and more coming in that space. So for example, in the next release, we are planning to give vTPM support. So TPM, people care about Windows VBS. We are also enabling TLS 1.2. So there's a lot of work going on the security side as well on vCenter. So given that, we feel like those are the 4 areas that you guys care about, and we need to align our roadmap and the work we're doing in vCenter towards that. So I don't want to go over all this slide too much because you probably have seen it before, but a few highlights, as I said, any workloads that run on vSphere, we really want to be, we want to focus on those. We want to make sure containers and container management is a big deal, and we are looking at how we can leverage either the standalone container management portal that we have delivered in 6.5 as part of vSphere integrated containers, or have some sort of a solution where vCenter can be used to manage containers as well. So we are looking at that. And then on the cross-cloud, there are specific features in vCenter we are building. One of them is called hybrid linked mode, which is taking the current enhanced link mode, but making it work across clouds, across SSO domains. And that's, again, a big project that's on its way, which means you should be able to take your on-prem environment and just seamlessly extend it to a VMware cloud environment. And when I say VMware cloud, it could be VMware cloud on AWS. It could be any of our 4,000 plus VMware cloud partners, which includes IBM Software, OVH, and a bunch of them. So if you have any public cloud that's powered by VMware stack, and you have your on-prem environment powered by VMware stack, we think we can do something interesting there. And the first step is to deliver the sort of the hybrid link mode that you will see very soon in the next release. So again, if you think about how vCenter is getting used today in your data centers, it's obviously the traditional stack. You have the network storage compute stack, and you're using vCenter to manage some of it. But we are also seeing a large adoption of HCI, right, hyperconverged infrastructure stack, especially with vSAN. And so we are doing a lot of work in vCenter to make sure that the HCI experience, which is compute and storage experience combined, is good. And so that's one area we are focused. Cloud Foundation, as you know, we have the VCF product, VMware Cloud Foundation, which is, again, all of SDDC available in a box. And vCenter is part of it. So we get a lot of requirements from that team. We work with them to make the VCF experience for vCenter better. So, like, for example, they have unique requirements around creating workload domains within the box, and then how vCenter lifecycle would happen in that context. How would you do, so there's a lot of work happening there as well. And then, as I was saying, for public cloud, specifically for VMware Cloud on AWS, vCenter is that, the face of that hybrid cloud, correct? So if you go to VMware Cloud on AWS, essentially you're logging into H5 client. And so that is sort of the new work we have done in vCenter to enable entry into VMware Cloud on AWS. And again, as I was saying, the hybridity aspect is the key there. So a lot of exciting stuff happening in the vCenter land. So I want to now get into some specific announcements. I'll talk about the announcements, and especially I want to just, I don't want to spend too much time talking about 6.5 features, because you guys probably are hearing about it in the last 2 days and maybe another 2 days. So 6.5, there are lots of sessions for drill down into what features from a vCenter 6.5 perspective. What I want to do is just talk about a few key announcements, and then especially highlight things that might affect your upgrade plans for 6.5 U1 or things there. So 6.5 U1, the first thing is it's been like almost 7 to 9. It's almost we released in November, so we're talking 9 months already. We have very positive response for 6.5. It is the adoption curve is steeper than 6.0 and 5.5. So we compare with the previous releases, we see more customers going to 6.5 faster earlier than for the previous releases. So clearly, we're very confident that this is a good release. H5 client, when 6.5 GA happened, we were probably around 20 to 30% of the flex functionality was available in H5 client. But with U1, we feel that a lot of the most frequently used operations are now available. So you should really, truly be able to use H5 client.
What do you think the remaining 10% of the functionality, what do you think the parity will arrive in the H5 client? And then secondly, everyone knows that obviously the C# update client was deprecated, and then with the update 1, you completely lose the ability to connect from that to U1. Is there anything that's going to be done to make the H5 client more stable? Because I find that it does crash a lot, and it would just be nice to feel like I can completely rid our environment of that Windows thick client.
Right.
Because I feel like the H5 client's good, and I just don't feel like it's quite there yet. It feels like a work in progress, and I feel like either the Flash-based solution or the H5 are really a suitable alternative to use. You're managing thousands of Unix hosts.
So just hold that thought, because I do have a deep dive discussion on that one. So let's do that when we get there. Okay. Licensing, especially for small customers, the change would affect you, and for the better. So the Foundation vCenter server license now includes 4 hosts instead of 3. That means you get to manage at least 4 instead of 3 hosts with the Foundation license. So which is like a straight 5K savings for you. And this was primarily done because vSAN and some of the other products require at least 4 nodes. So now that this is available, you could have just a Foundation license and you can still evaluate vSAN and try that product out. The next one is around interoperability. Again, it's a very, one of the top 3 complaints is we as VMware need to do more when it comes to interoperability between products, right? So vSphere over the years has evolved from being sort of an end in itself to an enabler of the sort of the VMware ecosystem. So in the same vein, we have changed our investments as well. So we're doing a lot of work to make sure VROps and vSphere work well together, NSX vSAN and vSphere work well together, EUC VDI products work with vSphere well together. So there is a lot of specific QE groups we have set up. There's specific architectural challenges between these products which cause a lot of issues which we have been resolving. So you will see it getting better in U1, and then we have a few more things to take care of by next release on interoperability. The last one is an interesting one. So there was some confusion when 6.5 G8, and a lot of customers felt like if they upgraded to 6.0 U3, they could not go to 6.5 GA. And they're like, why did VMware drop that upgrade path? So actually what happens is upgrade always is to a future release. You don't go back when you upgrade. So 6.0 U3 was released after 6.5 GA. So that means you cannot go from 6.0 U3 to 6.5 GA, right? You can't go back. So that means you had a choice. So when 6.0 U3 came out, you had a choice. You could have gone 6.0 U3 or you could have picked 6.5 GA. But if you chose not to go to 6.5 GA but go to 6.0 U3, then you have to wait for 6.5 U1 to come out. You cannot then go to 6.5 GA. And I think it's just a question of 3 to 6 months. It's not like it was a long period of time, right? So it's 3 to 6 months, and now 6.5 U1 is out. And so even if you are on 6.0 U3 today, you should be able to get to 6.5 U1. I just wanted to clarify that because some customers felt like they got logged into 6.0 and could never get out to 6.5. That with 6.5 U1, that should be mitigated. One other important thing, we are seeing so much interest in our customer base for 6.5 that we feel like this is the release where most customers would stay for a long time and would standardize. And that's why we are extending the support for 6.x. So typically, the support 5-year cycle starts when we do the major release. So 6.0 happened in March 2015, and so the support was supposed to go only till March 2020, right? 5 years. But with 6.5, we are resetting that cycle, so you get the extra time until November 2021. So that's just another reason we feel we are very confident that this would be a good release and everybody would love it. So we just feel like we need more support time on it. So another announcement, vCenter server on Windows is going to be deprecated, as in going to be discontinued. So how many of you here feel good about it? That finally appliance is the first class citizen. Okay. And how many of you don't feel good about it? Okay, so not a very large number, but I do want to make sure that we take care of your concerns. Let's see what, I want you to see what's available in the appliance and see if your opinion changes. If you still feel that, there are more things we need to do in the appliance to make you comfortable or do something else, then we should have a conversation offline. But I was pleasantly surprised after the announcement that a majority of our customers were actually not just neutral, but were super excited about us discontinuing it because now they have a mandate to clearly, go and do the appliance. Earlier it was like, I have to convince so many people to move to the appliance. Now there's no convincing because the vendor is saying it's going to be discontinued, right? Okay, so let me clarify the announcement a little bit more. So 6.5 is out now. 6.5 U1 has both vCenter Windows, and appliance, right? Both are available. We will have another release of vSphere, not an update release, another dot release of vSphere, which will have both the appliance and vCenter Windows. But that would be the last release for vCenter Windows. Beyond that, it'll only be the appliance. So we're giving you one extra release to get onto it. But I would say that if you're upgrading to 6.5, you want to definitely get onto the appliance now, because you don't want to be on a train that's not going anywhere. So now that we're talking about the appliance, I just wanted to summarize. We feel that so appliance was released in 5.5 or maybe even before, and it has SLES, SUSE OS in it. Over the years, we realized that supporting and working with Novell and supporting SUSE has been a challenge. We are not able to release security updates quick enough. So we decided to have our own OS. It's called Photon OS, and we have a database, Postgres database. So the Photon OS, Postgres database, and the vCenter application is what makes the appliance, right? And with the appliance in the last 3-4 years, we have done a lot of work, and now we feel it's really enterprise class, prime time ready, production ready, and so go use it, right? So again, it has the H5 client available. It has its own appliance management UI available to manage the appliance, which also has shell and REST API access. So you can script against it. If you have automation tools, you can talk to that. I got a question yesterday from somebody saying they have HP OpenView and they would like to use use OpenView to orchestrate certain things. And yes, you can do that. You can talk to the APIs, of course. And then we have the availability option available. So on vCenter Windows, we don't have a good HA solution today, but with the appliance, we have a proper active-passive option. Patching, again, security patching is a big deal, right? On VC Windows, you're used to making sure your Windows is up to date. We wanted to make sure that you have a better experience, if not same, for Photon OS and for the appliance as a whole. So patching, security patching is available. Security hardening is another big thing. I have heard from customers in the past that my security officer or my compliance officer is not comfortable with appliances, and I need to convince them that it's okay to use this appliance. And so one thing we have done is we've done a lot of security hardening and scanning ourselves, and we have a STIG available now. We have some white papers available, and we have to do more work there to convince you guys that we do a lot of testing on the appliance and convince your compliance team accordingly, right? So that is taken care of. Backup restore, there's an out-of-box backup restore option. I'll talk about it a little bit more. Enhanced link mode, so appliance, there are two configurations for the appliance, the embedded PSC and external PSC, right? The embedded PSC today does not support linked mode, but very soon in the next release, you will see us supporting linked mode with embedded PSC configuration. And we plan to also backport it to 6.5, so you will get it on 6.5. And then for external PSC configuration, you can connect up to 15 vCenters as a single pane of glass view in linked mode. VUM is integrated into the appliance, so you don't need to have another Windows box to run VMware Update Manager. It's just part of the appliance. And lastly, there is a very nice migration tool available, released in 6.5 GA, and that helps you migrate from 5.5 and 6.0 or 6.0 VC Windows to the appliance. So you can use the out-of-box migration tool. It basically migrates all your data, and it pretty much takes all the settings, configuration, data, everything from VC Windows and gives it to you in the appliance. So it's pretty seamless. It's pretty straightforward. And it also helps you convert from SQL or Oracle external DB that you had on the Windows side and puts the data into the embedded Postgres. So it's all sort of out-of-box. So I think with all these features, we feel like there should be nothing holding you back. And then I did see some customers still not fully comfortable with the appliance. So you should, again, look at the 6.5 feature set, think about what are your concerns, and see if the features address it. If there's still gaps, then definitely we are looking for feedback. and bring it up to your account team. We are absolutely looking for feedback, and if there are any gaps that are still left, we are very aggressively willing to fix it in the patches and the update releases that we will be doing after U1. So this is the direction. Let me highlight a few more things. The appliance performance. So some of you told me, I have tried the appliance before in my 5 days, and it was really terrible, and I didn't like it. So what I will say is that the appliance of those days and today is just completely different, right? Just on performance, you have 6x performance improvement from the 5.5 appliance to 6.5 appliance. There's a lot of work the team has done to make vCenter work on the appliance in an optimal fashion. So in fact, in some cases, we see better performance with VC on Photon OS than on Windows. And so I would say that there is a nice blog, performance blog available. There's a white paper available on vCenter performance. There is also a breakout session that Ravi Soundarajan is doing on performance. So if you have scale and performance concerns, there's enough material available to convince you that we feel that this shouldn't be a concern. And again, you can see when we say performance, typically we are talking about throughput. We're talking about how many operations per minute you can do, or what is the churn that vCenter can tolerate, right? Again, scale. With 6.5 appliance, we can support up to 2,000 hosts and 25K VMs per vCenter. So how many of you here feel like we need to do more investment on the scale side and get to a higher number? Is there anybody who thinks 2K hosts and 25K VMs per VC is not sufficient? We need to do more, like
Specifically, maybe with clusters that have DRS enabled, that's a place where the number could be higher. I think the current limit with 5.5 was 32 hosts.
now it's 64 now. Yes.
I was expecting 6.5 to be maybe 96 or 100.
So hosts per cluster is something you would like to see go up. Okay?
96 or 100.
Sure, that's good feedback. Any other metrics that you guys feel like we need to work more on? Hosts per cluster, I got that one. What about the total number of VMs per VC? Is 25K sound like a number that we can live with? Okay. So that's great. So because we always, we as a team, we have to debate. We always debate whether we want to invest in vertical scale, which is making per VC scale higher, or should we invest in horizontal scale, which is making lots of VCs, but smaller VCs talk to each other and connect with each other and give you a good single pane of glass experience. And I think there's a balancing act between doing vertical scale versus horizontal scale, right? And I think we have reached a point where vertical scale investment, I think we are in good shape. Now we have to start thinking about how can I do VC, connect VCs across clouds and across data centers and do more on that side probably. So I'm going to walk through some of these features a little bit in detail, and probably it'll answer the H5 question that came up. So again, on H5 side, another announcement. So the Flex client will be discontinued. Again, the same thing. It is so in 6.5. I'm going to try to answer your question now. So in 6.5, we have the Flex client and we have the H5 client. We are not shipping the C# client, right? The thick client is not shipping. So you have the Flex client and H5. We feel that with H5, especially 6.5 U1, we feel like 80 to 90% of frequently used operations should be possible through H5 client. And you're the first person I'm hearing who has concerns about the stability of H5 client. In fact, I've not heard anybody. So we should talk offline. But the reception on H5 client has been so good. I have a slide with a lot of customer comments, but I removed it in the interest of time. But it's overwhelmingly positive response on H5, and that's what made us, take this decision to do this announcement. So in 6.5, you have two options, right? H5 and Flex. We feel for most of your daily needs, H5 should be good, like frequently used operations, and then you would still need to go to Flex for patching, for some of the sort of the non-monitoring, non-performance management related tasks. And so I would say your center of gravity should be in H5 now with 6.5 U1, and then go to Flex when needed. And so you will have to work with 2 at the moment. And then the remaining features on H5, we plan to get it to feature completion or at parity with Flex within next, I would say, 9 to 12 months, I would say. And that would be those features that are not frequently used, but obviously we need to get all the features into H5. So I have, I think, a good slide on that one. So before I get there, let me ask the same question again. How many people are excited that we are moving our investments to H5 instead of, keeping our investments divided between Flex and H5 and C#? Like, okay, great. Yeah, because this was like, there's only so much money, right? So one option is you support all 3 clients and put money in all 3. The other is support 2. The third is mainly invest in H5 and a little bit in Flex, right? And that's the route we have taken. So it's if we did not deprecate C# client, we would be very behind on H5 development, right? So by deprecating or discontinuing C# in 6.5, we actually got a good, we could accelerate our H5 development. So let's talk about, by the way, another question. How many people are upset about this announcement of Flex deprecation? Okay, so there are still a few, so we should probably talk offline. So this is, we are currently at 6.5 U1, and you can see that a lot of the basic and advanced VM host management is already in H5. This is, by the way, H5. Flex obviously has everything. So I'm talking about H5. Content libraries in, storage, policy-based management is in, DRS is in, advanced performance charts are in. So all of those things are in already. So we think we are in good shape. Of course, there are very important features that are not in yet, but those we feel are less frequently used. So we are working on those, right? Again, I would say I should thank you guys for all the support you gave us on the flings. So a year and a half ago, we started development on H5 in Agile. It was totally a different development methodology with Agile process. And we had weekly flings, and you guys were giving us feedback on the flings, and we were using that to prioritize and decide what to work on first, and also to sort of constantly improve our user experience in terms of navigation, menus, and everything, right? New client means there is always some learning curve, but we wanted to make sure that it's not so far from C# that it becomes really difficult to adopt, right? So we feel like we've tried to keep a good balance between retaining some of the C# usability, but also being able to smartly improve wherever we needed to. And so the flings have been very successful. I would say folks who are already giving us feedback and using the fling, please continue to do so, because we still have ways to go, right, to finish the development work. And then folks who haven't signed up should definitely sign up. So one other thing I want to point out is the plugins. So we are working with partners so they can certify or port their plugins, the Flash-based plugins, to H5. So some partners are done, and then we are working with a whole bunch to get them to H5. So this is where I would need your support, right? It's when you as a customer tell that vendor, hey NetApp, I am planning to go to H5. I need your plugin to be available on H5, right? So that just helps us work with them better. So I would say if there are important plugins that you guys use, important third-party products that you use, it's very important to both highlight those to us through our sessions and group discussions that are happening on the topic, but also talk to that partner and vendor and say that you do care about having some integration with H5, right? So the flings are accessible through this website, labs.vmware.com, and you can find the H5 fling. There is a feedback tool that's built into the fling. So when you get that fling, you just get an appliance. It's just the UI, and it connects to your existing vCenter. So you don't even have to install another vCenter. You just point it to an existing vCenter, and you can start using the fling UI. And your old UI and the old client continues to work. So there's no disruption to your current environment. You just get this fling appliance, point it to vCenter, and you can start using it in parallel to your current UI. And we have customers who are using flings in very large environments, right, up to 3,000 VMs, and giving us feedback. One more thing, there is a design studio here at VMworld. This is where our UX designers are. They flew from Palo Alto especially to be here because they want to get your feedback. So if you're very passionate about, this is how I would like my H5 client to look, I have feedback on navigation, I have feedback on other user experience aspects, please show up there. You can just walk in there or sign up for a certain slot, and they will ask you to work through certain workflows and see what your feedback is. Any kind of feedback you can provide on the user experience side. So let's move on to the appliance management UI. So appliance, as I said, the appliance comes with a standalone UI, a shell, and an API. So I'm going to show you a quick demo. It's a sort of a recording, and I'm not the voice on it. It's another engineer. So I'm going to show you the video, which takes you through some of the functionality in the appliance management UI. In the interest of time, I'm going to move the... Can I get the sound, please?
The summary page contains the basic information and health status of the appliance. If any component is not in good health, messages will be displayed. The status of single sign-on will also be displayed if available. On the monitor page, you can monitor the use of disks of the appliance. And currently, we are working on the CPU, memory, network, and database monitoring. On the access page, you can change the access settings of the appliance, like SSH login, DCUI, console CLI, and bash shell. For bash shell, you can also set a timeout in minutes.
It's around a 5-minute video. So.
On network page, you can see the current network settings and proxy settings. In Edit Network Settings, you can enter your own DNS servers. You can also use static IPv4 or IPv6 addresses. In proxy settings, you can define your own proxy settings. On time page, you can change the system time zone, and you can also change the time synchronization settings. On services page, you can see the status of the services in the appliance. You can perform restart, start, and stop operations on these services. On the update page, you can change the update settings, like check for updates automatically, or you can also change the update repository. When an update is available, you can view the details of the update. You can also run pre-upgrade checks, and you can choose to stage the update, or you can choose to stage and install the update. The stage and install will go through a wizard workflow. For an administration page, you can change the password for the current user. You can also change the password expiration settings. By default, the password expires in 365 days. On the syslog configuration page, you can configure syslog servers to have vCenter redirect the log files. You can delete the servers, and you can edit or add more servers. You can also send test message to the syslog servers you have configured. On the backup page, you can schedule backups and view backup activities. The backup management demo will provide more details on this. On VMUI, you can also perform basic operations like changing the appliance language, download the support bundle, reboot or shut down the appliance, and log out. So that's it about the new appliance UI basics. Thank you.
What did you guys think? Good?
Yes.
Cool.
Apart from the vCenter aspects of that UI, is that going to be standardized across all VMware appliances?
So, yes, so we have this new look and feel that you saw, which is the H5-based look and feel, and we are standardizing all of our products onto that. We call it Clarity look and feel. So, vCenter product is obviously on it further along, and then we have vSAN, NSX, all of those consoles would get there. In terms of the appliance stack itself, different appliances today use SUSE or CentOS, and all of them are trying to move to Photon OS. So across VMware, we want the same look and feel for the UI, but also want the same stack in terms of Postgres and Photon OS, and that work is in progress.
Is the ideal state the ideal end state to be one where if I want to change syslog target on an appliance, it's going to be the same setting in the same location, no matter if it's an NSX appliance?
Yeah, so the appliance UI that you saw, we want to make sure that becomes a standard stack. So Photon OS and Postgres and the UI that you saw becomes a standard thing for all appliances. That's why this UI is distinct from the H5 vSphere full client UI, right? This because for troubleshooting, if your VC is not coming up and you can't even get to the H5 client, the full client, then you can at least have the appliance management UI available. And also, for a lot of the functionality you saw was related to OS management, and that would be common across all appliances. So yes, we ideally want this same UI to apply to all VMware appliances for being able to manage that portion of the stack. Okay, so in the interest of time, I'm going to go a little bit faster. So high availability, there are a lot of drill down sessions on it, but basically we have the appliance HA option available. It's a very easy, automated, one-click setup. So you go to the appliance vCenter and say, turn on HA, and we automatically clone that vCenter and create a secondary vCenter and a witness and set up HA for you. We also support multi-site, so your primary and secondary could be in different data centers or different sites, as long as the latency is less than 35 millisecond. There's also, this solution doesn't require any third-party products like Microsoft clustering or anything else that we used to need before. It doesn't need any shared storage between the primary and secondary. So if it's two different data centers, you have, and you don't have shared storage across those, that's all right. That's why we have that witness node. So this solution is available in 6.5, right? Active, passive witness, API and UI, and the RTO is less than 10 minutes. That means within 10 minutes, if your vCenter fails, within 10 minutes, we can have the other vCenter up and running fine, the secondary up and running fine. So there's more details available on this in some other sessions if you're interested. And I just wanted to highlight that this is where we are today, and in the longer term, we want to get to a point where we look at vCenters, a bunch of vCenters, as a set of coordinated nodes. So think of it as some sort of a control plane that goes across vCenters. And this kind of goes back to my discussion before around hybrid link mode, connecting VCs across clouds, connecting VCs within a cloud but across sites. So we want to get to a point where all of these VCs form a single pane of glass from a visibility perspective, but also from a high availability perspective, so that if a portion of one of the VCs is down, it doesn't mean that your API is down or UI is down. That means you will still have the orchestration capability, the provisioning capabilities available, even if one of the VCs fails. So anyways, the more details are available in other sessions. So
Question, if you have an SS environment, how would you do the HA? How does that work?
So let's take it offline because I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. So I think that's a detailed question, so it'll take more time. On the patching side, I already said that, I showed you the demo on how you can do appliance patching, right? You just go in the appliance management UI, see the updates, apply the updates, right? So one other thing we have done is in the last 6 months, we have made the patch delivery process faster. So we can now deliver patches within 30 days. That means if, let's say, a new security vulnerability is known, then we can test our products and release patches within 30 days. And that, I think, should mitigate some of the concerns your security team might have. And this was sort of a lot of work. So we have a train going every month. Whatever vulnerabilities above CVE 7 are known, we go ahead and release patches for that. So if you see before, you had to wait for the quarterly patch, right? So if you are on GA, you have to wait for the quarterly patch to get the red X shows a vulnerability. So if there was an issue that needs to be fixed, you still have to wait 3 months, right? Maximum wait 3 months. But now with this monthly patching, we are talking about at the most, you wait 30 days to get your patches. So you'll get monthly patches, and then of course you will get your regular U1, U2 updates as well, right? And that's in a standard schedule of 699, 6 months, 9 months, 9 months. Okay?
Is that the same as the upgrade process?
No, so when we say upgrade, typically we mean you're going from U1 to U2 to U3. That's upgrade. This is updates, so it's more frequent, but these are mainly for specific security updates. Okay, so backup restore, again, I don't want to talk in detail about it. There are 2 options available, image-based backup and file-based backup in 6.5 already. I just want to show you a tech preview quickly for what we are doing beyond 6.5. So the backup scheduler was one thing that is missing in 6.5. So you have to sort of, there's no automatic scheduler. So you probably can use a scheduler that's available in your other backup tool, third-party backup tool, and use scripting or something to talk to appliance API and do it. So there's a way to do it. But what we're doing is giving you out-of-box backup scheduler in the next release. So that work is going on. We also want to give you more control over how many backups you can retain, what kind of data you can back up. So if when you're backing up your appliance, maybe you only want to back up the inventory and not all the stats and alarms, events, and all that, right? Depends on the use case. So we give you options to decide how much data you want to back up as part of appliance backup. Because if you do only inventory, you're talking like, few gigabytes. But if you're doing all of your stats and events, your DB could be really big, right? We have customers who have 1 terabyte of VC database. So it depends. So that option is available. Also, there's REST APIs available for backup restore as well. On the restore side, we obviously already have a restore option in 6.5. There's no point having backup without restore. But what we are doing in the next release is simplifying the UI for restore and making it even easier to be able to go and restore. So you go to your, what you're seeing is the installer, the appliance installer. So there's options for install, upgrade, migrate from Windows. And we are adding another option called restore. So you just go to the standard installer and say restore from a backup. And what we do is deploy a new blank appliance and restore the data from the backup. So it's pretty straightforward. So let me see how much time I have. I might skip this portion of the discussion. I should probably skip this portion of the discussion. This was mainly about, your topologies. There are many options. So if you look at, if you see which one you use, our customers have a lot of topologies for vCenter. External PSC, embedded PSC, load balancer, no load balancer, right? And it's become very complex. So what we are doing is going forward is trying to get to a direction where it's very simple. And so you will see that this is the ideal state we are trying to get to. So use embedded PSC configuration. So each appliance has VC and PSC, and these appliances are in linked mode. And with this, most customers should not even require the external PSC configuration. You can standardize on this. And this is, again, a tech preview. So in the next release, very soon, we plan to deliver this, which is, so appliance with embedded PSC is available today, right, in 6.5. What is not available is you can't put them in linked mode. And this is basically turning on linked mode. And that was one main reason why people use the external PSC configuration, because it supports linked mode. So once I get you linked mode in this one, there shouldn't be a reason to use external PSC option. Also, for those folks who are already on external PSC, we are working on a conversion tool that can take you from external PSC option to the embedded option, but this is a little bit slightly longer term. So it's not a tech preview, but it's a roadmap item.
Is it going to allow you to switch SSO domains and merge SSO domains?
Yeah, so that one is a separate tool we are working on, which is you can take many SSO domains and consolidate to fewer by repointing the VC to a PSC in another domain. So that tool is very close to being done. Actually, it's in beta. So people who want to try out that tool, SSO domain consolidation, please come by after the session. I would like to get your cards, because we are really actively seeking customers to do beta on that tool. That has been a big ask for some time, so we are now almost there. We should be able to get it out soon. So that's it, and I will hand it over to Kim to talk about his experience with using the appliance.
So my name is Kim McDowell. I'm a senior systems engineer with Umpqua Bank, and I was asked to briefly talk about our experience with vCenter Server. I'll make this very brief because I know it's the last session of the night, and hopefully I'll have some vendor lined up to give us a free dinner, so I'll try to plow through this. Umpqua Bank is the West Coast's largest independent community bank, and we're headquartered in Roseburg, Oregon. We have more than 330 locations from Seattle to San Diego, the Oregon coast, Idaho, and in northern Nevada. Our strategy is that we're trying to offer products and expertise that you'd find in a big bank, but at the same time, we want to offer personal service and engagement of a community bank, and also be an innovative retailer and provide that experience. Instead of branches, we call our locations stores, and we design them to be inviting spaces for our customers and others in the community. So you can come into the store, you can basically get a cup of coffee, read the newspaper, surf the internet. You can even probably reserve a room for events. Culture is very important at Umpqua Bank, and one of the important parts of our culture is volunteering with the community. And so Umpqua Bank actually does provide us associates 40 hours of paid time off to volunteer with like schools and youth organizations and community development programs. And then 2015, 67% of Umpqua associates participate in Connect Time and volunteered more than 50,000 hours in our communities. And thank you. And in April 2014, we actually merged with Sterling Financial and essentially doubled our size. And but yeah, we still strive to be committed to being a community bank. Our current environment, we have 2 data centers, active, approximately 450 ESXi hosts, over 3,000 VMs, 6 vCenters. We are now currently on the vCenter server appliance. We're running 6.0 in production, and we're running 6.5 in test dev. This diagram on the slide shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. I think it's pretty common for most of us. vCenter is very integral to our environment. We have a lot of users from different groups, automation application groups, DevOps groups, telecom guys, operations, all logging into vCenter to manage VMs, do daily tasks like deploy VMs, add resources, power operations. We also have a lot of crucial services, like monitoring, backups, DR, business continuity, security. All these services are very critical, and they're very dependent on vCenter. Some of the challenges that we have is, like I said, there's a huge dependency, and vCenter is very critical for our environment, for the teams accessing it, for the services that keep the environment running. The other challenge we had, as I said, we merged with Sterling Savings, double our size. We spent a lot of time and effort. It's the last 2 years, and it's still ongoing. Consolidating the environments, consolidating the teams. At the same time, we're trying to get our environments upgraded, configured to be consistent, and really we're just trying to centralize and simplify the environment, our data centers, our applications. And obviously, being a financial institution, security is very important for us. Fixing vulnerabilities, keeping current, and at the same time, back to the dependency of the importance of vCenter. We really want to minimize that downtime and risk when we go to patch or upgrade. So about a year ago, we were involved with the vCenter high-touch beta. And at that time, we found out about the migration tool. And for me, in my personal opinion, it was a godsend. It was the plans aligned perfectly. We were going through the merger. We were trying to get all our environments up to the same version and consolidate and simplify stuff. And to find out about this tool existence and then have it announced to VMworld about a year ago, we actually stopped our plans and processes to go from 5.5 to 6.0 and waited specifically for a migration tool. It really did save us a lot of time and effort, and it really reduced the risk of upgrading. And like I said, we went from a Windows server install with external SQL database to several VCSA appliances and external PSCs. And obviously the cool thing about the migration tool is we kept existing roles and user groups. There's no change to our RBAC. And we kept the same IP address and host name, and more importantly, we kept the certificates. None of the CA signed certificates had to change. And more importantly, there was just no impact to our updates, specifically our backups. There's a lot of concern, how is the upgrade going to impact our backups? And to be able to upgrade with the migration tool was very effective. When we upgraded, we kind of pictured the end state we wanted to be at, and that was basically having a single SSO domain, using enhanced leak mode. And prior to upgrading from 5.5, we did a lot of work. We externalized any internal SSO domain. We repointed that when we were at 5.5, then we used the migration tool to get to our end state, which is basically SSO domain with enhanced leak mode. That allows us to basically replicate our policies and roles and permissions across multiple vCenters. You can log on to vCenter and see all the objects in the vCenter server and basically search across the vCenters for VMs, virtual port groups. The other thing is obviously, like I said, security is very important to us. So the patching of the VCSA and PSC, the nice thing about that is that patch includes the database, the operating system, and the vCenter services themselves. And obviously that's less outages. We're not patching separate Windows servers. We're not patching then the vCenter service. And more importantly, we're not having the database server OS be patched at a different cycle than the guest, the vCenter server OS. And we're not having SQL Server being patched by the DBA, and they're not letting us know. So it really did, help us. Right now we have one single team. Me and my Ken Phipps, my counterpart. It's really us that's responsible for patching vCenter server. So it's made it much more streamlined. And now with the 6.5 being able to do a file-based backup of the VCSA and PSC, it's really nice to have that additional step to protect ourselves, and we can roll back. As Madhu was showing, you can basically run your hot backup using one of the protocols. If you need to restore that, you can basically run the ISO, and there's an option there to restore, and you can point at the same protocol. And new to 6.5 is also the integrated VUM, and obviously that's even better because now we're even consolidating even more. So in conclusion, said this is brief. We've really simplified and consolidated our environment with the VCSA. Fewer servers in our landscape, and with some of the announcements we saw today, that's going to even get better. As time goes along, we're going to get rid of PSCs, external PSCs, go to embedded. With the merger, it's been great because now we can get consistent access for the teams and services. It sounds simple, but the ELM stuff, when you have a team that's coming together, they have a virtual machine in 1 or 2 data centers. It makes it so much easier. It's just to simplify the environment. And obviously patching and upgrade has gotten a lot simpler. And really overall, we just have fewer outages and risks. So that was it. Told you to be sweet.
So we have 5 more minutes. We can take a few more questions if you have. You can come to the mic here. That'll be great. You can come to the mic. We can take it. Yeah.
Is the new integrated BAM still requiring a SQL database, or is using the embedded Postgres?
It's using the embedded Postgres. So WAM is just another service running in the appliance. So you don't need any other database. It's the same database.
Even for medium, large environments?
Even for large environments. That's why I said if you have concern around appliance scale and performance, you should look at the white paper. You shouldn't have any concern.
With regards to linked mode and single sign-on, were you saying it's not possible, or is it not supported currently in 6.5?
So with external PSC, of course, we support linked mode. With embedded PSC, we do not support it officially.
Okay.
But I do know of customers who put it in linked mode, but then try it at your own risk. It's not officially supported.
We're about to do a 6.5 upgrade, and then hearing that, hey, in the next release, that functionality will be possible. I'm just wondering if it's worth standing up an external SSO.
Oh, I see. So
have it consolidate down.
If you're already using embedded PSC and you already are in linked mode, then probably it's worth trying the upgrade and just leaving it there. Okay. We don't block it.
Okay.
And very soon we will officially support it. Yes.
Thank you very much.
That's it. Thank you, guys. Thanks.